Okay, welcome to part 3 of the Infinite Guide. We're going to start right away on Nexus here. There's not really much I can teach you movement-wise on Nexus, because you're kind of going to have to just sort of run the level and figure things out. I'll kind of show you how I do things, though. To start off with, what I like to just sort of start, just sort of grapple down the hallway here. At the bottom, kind of just grabbing a slide and making my way over. You don't really want to use any thruster charges here. I don't know why that was like that. Yeah, you don't really want to use any thruster charges coming down here, because you really want to save them for this room. In this room here, I kind of like to come up left and just sort of slide across this, then sort of thruster in. And we're gonna just sort of make our way down the middle. Kind of like that. We're just kind of trying to make our way through the room. I'm surprised I didn't get a checkpoint down bottom there. Okay. So yeah, the way I like to do this is just grabbing a slide off the top here, getting a thruster here, and then usually we land around here so we can get like a slide here and then a double slide off the bottom. That's kind of how I like to do the first room. So one last time. Again, I'm shocked I'm not getting a checkpoint here. I got one there, okay. So, over the top, thruster again, land around here, getting another double slide. Once we're in here, I like to just sort of slide, because it hits the door trigger earlier. Grabbing a slide off of here and a thrust, make sure you hit the ground. So I like to get a slide off of there, tank on some enemies to kill them. Because when we kill these two brutes here, or beforehand, we're going to get a checkpoint. Coming up here, there's one of the harder sections on easy is the suicide grunt room. The way I handle this personally is I just get a slide and kill this guy, and I just sort of thruster around them. Just be aware that you can die to these guys on easy, but if you're a bit scared, you want to take it a bit easier, what you can do instead is just kind of make your way around here, fire attack shot, and then just grapple over. That is a little bit slower because you are actually taking time to kill the enemies. But again, it's a little bit safer because you're killing them. It's on an infinite, even on easy, with like a singular shield upgrade. It doesn't actually take that many suicide grunts to kill you. I'll even show you. Like, I'll just walk up and let him suicide me. Like, I'm already down to like no shields. Like, it is very easy to die to these guys. I'm just gonna let these guys kill me in their own time. So, once again, the strat I like to do is like this, and then just thruster over the top. And get another grapple slide up top. Along here, if you have a thruster charge, you can kind of just use it to cross that gap a little bit easier. You can go left or right, by the way. It's the same amount, it takes the same amount of time to go left or right. There's some more suicide grunts in here. These ones aren't as dangerous, but that's just kind of like how I like to deal with it. That's more of like that's kind of more of a ledge strat than anything else, like what I just did. But it doesn't hurt to do it. This is a weird checkpoint, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna double revert, because that's a really weird checkpoint to show this off with. So, if you don't use a thruster charge there, when you bonk this box, you can kind of just thruster toward in this direction. Like, once again, like coming through here, just sort of swinging off the door, tank on the ground, and just sort of make your way through. I did bonk the gold elite there, but you know, that happens. You know, the slide across the room. I'll show that one more time. Again, I'm mostly bonking the ground here because I have a really weird checkpoint. So once we're in here, we're gonna kind of come up to one of the first tricks on Nexus. So movement for this room, it can be a bit weird. I like to just sort of like, I'll show that again. So what I'm doing is I'm grappling the back end of this box so that I can slide on it and then getting a double slide as I hit the ground. There is a bit of a lip there, which sometimes you can nick as you're sometimes you can nick that as you're going over. Then you can just sort of like double slide and thrust her over. So this door, there are a couple different ways of dealing with it. So I'm going to drop a nuke here so no enemies bother me. And then I'm going to grab a checkpoint. So, the first method is the coil pinch. This is the method that basically everyone does because it's probably the most consistent. So, to do this pinch, we're going to crouch and we're going to kind of look at the door. And there's this red line here. So we're going to make a line from this point to here and then we're just going to drop the coil. And that is not going to work apparently. Okay. Interesting. So on the red line, while we're crouched, this pinch is really temperamental. Stuff like this can happen. It's weird. Maybe I'm too low? I was too low. Okay, so completely disregard the lineup I just gave you. So we're going to kind of be like, around here and drop it. I swear it's not usually this rough. I swear it is not usually this bad. Usually, like, I kind of YOLO this lineup when doing runs these days. Because it will eventually just push you through. There is a pinch launch you can get with this interesting grapple behavior. There is a pinch launch you can get if you do line up with this corner over here. But you won't always get it, and it's far less consistent than just doing the lineup on the right over here. Like, yeah, like, that's just going to bounce me back. You can just sort of go for this until you do get a launch. But even this, still, it's just so inconsistent that it's not even worth it. So, like before, we're just going to line up against the wall here, and, yep, it's just going to pop us through. There is another strat for this door that no one really does anymore. Okay. Interesting checkpoint. Where you can actually swing clip through this door. The lineup for it is, what we're going to do is we're going to grapple like against the back wall here. And then, kind of like we did on Conservatory, we're just going to put ourselves into this nuke and ground pound. This one's a bit rougher than the one on Conservatory. Because you're going to be a bit further away. So the benefit to this over the coil pinch is that it is 100% consistent so long as you do the lineup correctly. And so long as you do it right, as from what you're seeing when I do it. Once you're kind of out of bounds here, there's a couple different things you can do. Because what the goal is to get down the shaft in front of us. There's like a shaft down there. If I drop down here, you can see it. That is where our goal to get to is. So if we pinched, we'd be in this hallway right here. So what you can do is you can actually just come back in bounds here. Or you can stay out, or once you're out of bounds, you can stay out of bounds and sort of Spider-Man your way over to the shaft. Is easier said than done. Now let's go do the coil pinch again, because I'd like to show how you get there from here. So we've done our coil pinch, and we're just going to make our way down this hallway. So usually there's a grunt and 2 hunters in here. The door's going to lock behind us. So to get to the... so say you came back in bounds after doing the swing clip, or you've done the coil pinch. To get out of bounds again and into the shaft, there's a couple different lineups. The first one is around here. And it's quite temperamental. It's a bit rough. No one really does this lineup anymore. Because it's a bit difficult to see. The easiest method to go for is... what to do is to put yourself against this button on the left. Crouch. And then you're going to look at the tip of this triangle here. And then ground pound with the tank gun out. You can do this one with the sword, but you kind of need to be backed up a little bit when you do it. Floor position for this clip is also kind of lenient. You can actually kind of be down here. But just, like, if you're shaking, like your screen was shaking like mine is, there is the chance that you can actually get pressure launched. You can get pressure launched out of here. And the pressure launch is actually so precise. It knocks you off of, like, here. And then bounces you off the door. You'll land somewhere around here. But it'll happen, like, instantly. So you won't even be able to know what happened. So there is another strat, which is the coil launch. And I'm not going to be showing that. Because if you're watching this guide, then you're a beginner. And you're not allowed to go for the funny launch. So we're going to go back out of bounds again. So once you're here, what I like to do is just maneuver my way around And then I'm going to thrust her forward and then thrust her into the shaft again. Because there are freeze walls around here, and the freeze walls are gnarly in this area. And the freeze walls in this area are gnarly, so you really just want to hug the shaft as much as you can. And I'm holding W and using my camera to just sort of like make my way around. And on the way down, it's very important, I'm mashing tac map. What mashing tac map does is I'm going to show you what this area looks like if I did not mash tac map. So we'll go back out of bounds, make our way around. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's meant to be over there that just isn't. And we need that area over there to be loaded. And the best way to load it is simply open and close your tac map. And there it is. There's the area there. Sadly, I didn't get a checkpoint down here, but that's okay. So once we're down here, you've landed around here, you sort of make your way over. Again, there are some tough freeze walls, so I kind of recommend just sort of hugging the hallway here. Making your way up. And so there's a bit of a weird thing here, because this area in front of us is meant to be open, but you can't just walk into it. This is kind of an inbounds, out of bounds area, so this is kind of an inbounds area. So what we need to do is we need to sort of crouch up against here. And you're going to notice I fell in here. That's because there's like a little bit of a drop here. What we want to do is we want to kind of finagle our way out with crouching. The way I like to do this is I literally just hold W and I'm aiming for that slope. And now we're sort of inbounds, out of bounds. I've not really explained that very well because there's like a wall here. Like that's blocking us and what we're going to want to use. So you kind of just want to finagle against that until you're in this little area. Because like as I say, you can see here, but like you cannot get through this wall. This is just solid here. So we're gonna just sort of finagle our way through. And yeah, we're on the other side now. This would be where you would cut if you were doing this like casually or without this inbounds out of bounds. That's where you would be. One more time, crouched and just sort of holding W to get out of there. So once you're out, you kind of want to make your way around this way. You can get a slide off of this here. And our goal is now to get to the other side of this chasm. And to do that, we are just going to be grappling and holding W and A the whole way through. If you have thruster charges, feel free to use them, because that will speed this up a little bit. If you have tier 2 thrusters here, it's a massive, massive help. Having tier 2 thrusters saves quite a significant amount of time. I am also swinging with my mouse, but that is completely unnecessary. But yeah, this isn't too difficult. You're just thrustering, you're just grappling. The one thing to note is coming up, there's going to be like anti-equipment zones like I hit there. Always make sure you have your grapple equipped as you're coming into them. Because if you don't, then it is going to be a big fucky wucky. But once we're on this side, we've hit this bridge. That is where we're supposed to go, but we need to hit a BSP load back here. So once we've hit that, the bridge is going to go out and there's a bunch of sentinels. To cross this bridge, we're just going to do another little grapple slide across. Practice this slide a lot, by the way. This is a lot harder than it really looks. But you've hit the load, you're just going to jump, and then get a slide off of that ramp, and you can kind of double thrust across the gap. And then you can even just get a double slide out until you hit the seed room. So one more time. There we go. Now let's go into the seed room. So we need to grab 3 power seeds. First and most importantly, you need to press this button. Now I would like to disable... I did not mean to just do that. Hang on a minute. I did not mean to do that. This is probably bad. Nah, we're fine. I'm gonna suppress this checkpoint. So we're gonna press this button here. And we want to beeline up to here. So we're going to go out of bounds on this door. You can thrust her forward there. It saves a little bit of time. Then we're going to come back up and we're going to go back out of bounds. The reason why we want to do this so quickly is because of this light bridge here. If we grab this seed quick enough and make our way back, this light bridge will still be here, and we can kind of just use it to cross the gap pretty easily. Because if you're too slow, that light bridge will just disappear, and you gotta grapple your way across. So about the movement back. So let me just show you that whole path again. To the seed. Just start swinging our way up. Back in bounds on the door. Working in your double slides. And then you're grabbing the seed. And if your light bridge is still there, that's really, really good. You can sort of make your way across. Once you get around here, you want to toss the seed. Because, once again, carrying seeds is slow. Grapple sliding is fast. That's the first seed. And I'm going to unsuppress my checkpoints now. Second seed you want to do is you can either go left or right. We want to go right first and foremost. Because going right is faster. I didn't actually get a checkpoint there, so I guess you're getting to see that path one more time. But yeah, going to the right is a little bit faster than going to the left. Because we're going to save and quit once all the 3 seeds are in. And if we go right first, we're going to be closer to a coil when we spawn back in. So once again, grabbing the seed. Making our way downtown. Hopefully, like, when you throw the seed, it kind of bounces in a way that's closer to the door. Once the seed's in, like, I kind of just like to get a little bit of a swing slide there. Then, for here, we just kind of want to, like, jump in a way that we hit that... There's, like, a little lip there we want to hit. I'll show you that when we go back again. Once you grab the seed, I like to swing off that door and just toss it. Then just kind of grapple over that box. The other room is identicals, and I'll get a better chance to kind of show you the movement in there. So, second seed is in. We're just going to do another little grapple slide over. So once again, we're going to do another slide here. Hopefully we're going to hit the lip to get a jump. We can kind of double slide in. Grabbing the seed. Grappling up top here. Tossing it. And then getting another slide over top. One more time. Slide. Hit the lip. Jump. Get a double slide. Wow, that was actually a really, really good slide there. Tossing the seed over. I got a checkpoint there, actually. I did. It's like, yeah, grappling the top of the doorway just to throw, sort of like get a swing out, throw the seed. So, once we have picked up the seed, what we're going to do, the minute we put it in, we're going to pause the second it's in. And then we are going to end our game. What this is going to do is this is going to skip some dialogue, and it's also going to put us closer to a coil. So I'm kind of hoping I don't fuck up this coil launch, because we're really only going to get like one chance to show this off. Because of where we want to land with it. So the coil's over here. So the way I like to do this is, the minute I spawn in, I sprint, and then I turn around and look. Door opens, I get a thruster. I'm going to swing over. And once we've activated this, once we press the button, our UI is actually going to disappear. Because it's part of like a cutscene kind of thing. We're just going to prop our coil up against the wall here. And once again, we're just going to kind of launch. And we really want to land in the... where we want to land is right in the middle there. You can kind of see that's where we're going. And we want the coil launch to put us right in there. We also want to pick up the coil as we go. As we're going to be bringing that... In fact, you don't need to worry about bringing it. If you bring the coil, cool. If you don't worry about it. Like, yeah, if you get launched like that, just kind of use your thrusters. Try not to go too high, though, because you can pass a soft barrier and get stuck. And yeah, if stuff like this happens, you're kind of just going to have to grapple your way back up. And again, no UI, because, like, they said no UI and took away our UI. So, last time I'll kind of show this off, like, one more time. And then we'll get going to Command Spire. Yep, this is kind of where we want to land, and that is Nexus. Command Spire is rough. So, we're immediately spawned in. I've not touched my mouse. The first thing I want to do is I want to look at this line here to my left. And this is where I'm going to leave my mouse as we climb the elevator. Because we're going to be swinging on the first pillar that we see. And we're going to land on that. Because we're going to be using that pillar to go out of bounds. You get like a little bit of downtime here. And once we kind of like get to this point here where everything's passing us, I'm holding W. And I want to grapple the top right-hand corner of this pillar and swing up. And you want to land on top of here. We're getting out of bounds here is kind of tough. All we want to do is we want to kind of be about halfway up. And we're gonna be grappling sort of like a top wall here, but we want to be kind of at an angle like this. Because this clip is a bit weird and you can't really take it straight on. Like if I would try to take it straight on here, it is actually going to work because, you know, the game doesn't want... I'm trying to demonstrate the game is bad, and the game will not let me demonstrate that it's bad. There we go. Like, I'm taking it too straight, too high. Which is why you kind of want to be at an angle. Kind of like this. Where you grapple on the ceiling is not... It's not too precise, but it's not too lenient either. Like, I think I'll get away with that. Yeah. This platforming... So from here on, this platforming is really, really tough, though. So I'm going to save a checkpoint and suppress it. So first things first is we're kind of on an invisible floor here. Past like this sort of wall here, we're going to fall. And our goal is to get through this sort of archway in front of us here. So what we're going to do is we're going to be grappling this part of the geo here. So we're kind of going to jump and grapple that. And we're going to try and land on the invisible flooring here. Again, there's not really much I can reference for where you're supposed to land. You're kind of going to need to practice this and feel it out a little bit. The thing is, like, if you fall, like, in here, it's very, very difficult to then get back out, because there's, like, a thing in front of you, and, yeah, trying to, like, finagle your way out of this is rough. So, once again, we're just going to kind of grapple through here, landing on this, like, floor here. So, what we want to, when we're here, we're going to be looking sort of... We want to get up to this point here. Best way to do that is just kind of grapple the back of it and swing your way in. And then once you're in this little spot here, we need to get into the nuke we're going to be using to do an up clip. So I'm holding W here and I've kind of stopped. What I want to do is I want to tap crouch and then hold W. And that's going to put me into the nuke we want to be in. So like I can't hold W any further here, but I'm standing up, which is the most important thing. So once we're kind of in this nuke, we want to then like turn to our left. I'm holding W again, and then I'm going to tap space until I'm kind of in this, until I'm elevated up. Because when I'm back here, we can kind of see like this. We don't want this. We're going to jump up. So we're kind of on top of this geo. And this up clip here is, again, not very precise, but not too lenient. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of... We're just going to grapple the wall. Grapple and ground pound. And if it doesn't work, we're just going to have to try it again. Sometimes it doesn't work if you are too far, or too far back. Am I even in the right nuke? I should be. Aha, right, okay. I was doing it wrong. That is on me. So once again, we're coming up here, grappling this corner. Like I got into the nuke quite quickly there because like I sort of know what I'm looking for. But again, like getting into the nuke, you're jumping up, then you want to kind of look a little bit left, kind of like left of here, and do a little ground pound clip, and then we're going to be up on the ceiling. once we're up on the ceiling here, we're going to turn to our left because we're looking for this. There are these sort of like big light pillar things here. The best way to notice it is you've just gone out of bounds. This is where we were. We're going to immediately turn to our left and walk forward. Because once again, we're going to grapple our way up. There is an invisible ceiling there, which we don't want to hit because we need to get into this nuke. Once we're here, we're once again just going to kind of be holding W until we can't go anywhere anymore. And this clip is kind of finicky. So, because if you do this clip wrong, what's going to happen is you're going to go inbounds. And if you go inbounds, it's over. So the way to clip here into the ceiling without going back inbounds is to kind of look at this white line here. And then holding nothing on your keyboard, no movement controls, no nothing. What we're going to do is we're just going to grapple and ground pound. And that's going to put us into the ceiling. Once again, the direction we're going to go is confusing because above us right now is a freeze wall. Which, yeah, it's not in a very, very good location. It's in a very, very bad location. Also, to be noted, the two up clips I've just done, the one I've just done here and the one before that, neither of those were crouched. These were both standing clips. So no crouching, no nothing. So once we're up here, what we're going to do is we're just going to hold W. There's a barrier in our way here. Best way to get over this is just a thruster. And once we're like kind of hugging the cylinder here, we can then pull ourselves up. And the best way to know where we're going is to look over here, to look for the enemies. Like you can see there's a jackal there. That's how we know this is the way we're supposed to go. You can also see the brute's feet here. But once again, there is a freeze wall below us. So we're just going to like swing our way up until we're landing around here. And thankfully, this is the end of the hard out-of-bounds platforming. So we can just come back and bounce. And make our way over to this teleporter over here. So, if you brought your coil with you, this is where you're going to be celebrating. So we're going to go out of bounds again. Once we've teleported through here, we're going to go out of bounds. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of a different out of bounds clip than what we've done before. We're going to hold W at this corner, and then crouch into it. And then we're going to kind of look for this L shape here on the door. And looking in the sort of corner of the L, we're going to grapple and ground pound. Once our grapples come back, we're going to make our way up here. And also, this is to be noted, this is only if you've got the coil. If you don't have the coil, I'm going to show you what to do in a sec. So, once you've got the coil up here, we're going to sort of set it up against here. There's like an invisible wall back here we're going to set it up against. I kind of like to set it up here. And then just sort of do another launch. Oh, interesting. That was kind of a skill issue. I better not have shield bug when I revert. Oh no. I'm gonna have shield bug when I revert. Interesting. We're just gonna turn off the game sound effects in that case. Which is gonna make things a lot more awkward. Interesting. So, once again, we're just gonna coil launch up. I kind of like to cancel my grapple, like midway through it. So, like if you'll probably notice, I'll do it again. So I kind of cancel my grapple. Also, what we're aiming to do here with this launch is we are aiming to bonk the room above us, which is why you kind of see me set up a little bit left. You can also like, there's like weird pockets in the geo here you can actually get yourself locked in as well. Yeah, we can kind of just pull our way up here. I didn't realize Chief made these noises when you swung the sword. But yeah, well, that's kind of what we're aiming to do with the coil launch here. And once we've kind of hit the roof, we can kind of just like swing our way up. And you kind of want to land around here. But say you didn't bring the coil. Say you didn't bring the coil. You've gone out of bounds and you've made your way up. You've gone out of bounds, you're out here. Let me see where my double revert is. See my double revert's in bounds? It is. Sweet. That makes things a lot easier. Because once again, we're just going to go out of bounds again. And once you're in this nuke here and our grapples come back, we're just going to grapple up this wall. Like, once again, like, when we grapple, we're going to kind of, like, drag our mouse away, holding WA or WD to kind of get a little bit more height. Coming up here. And we've caught up with the coil launch route. To get back in bounds, it's kind of easy. What we're going to do is we're going to sort of, like, line up against the wall here. And there's this kind of line in front of us. So with the sword or the tank gun, we can kind of ground pound in right around there. Once again, you can do this with the sword, but doing it with the tank gun is probably a little bit easier. And yeah, once we're back in bounds, what we're going to do... Oh, let's not do that. Once we're back in bounds, we're going to make our way over to the left towards this teleporter. And we're going to do a tele-yeet. So if we ground pound a teleporter like that, we just get a ton of speed going forward. And we're going to be doing our second Adjutant Resolution boss fight. So I hope you have plasma nades. So what I like to do is I like to get right up in front of him. Because then he's going to do his ground pound. And that is my signal to throw my plasma. And then lay into him with my tank gun. This time he takes 3 shots instead of 2. It should be noted as well, if you don't have a plasma, you can just use 2 spike nades. But he is as easy as that. I'll show you the boss fight one more time, just for the sake of it. And we'll use spike nades this time, just to show that that works. So pound me, good sir. So 1, wait for it to explode. 2, wait for it to explode. And then tank shot. Tank shot. And tank shot. And once that's done, we're just going to kind of make our way over and onto the elevator. And that is the bottom part of Command Spire. So this is another elevator, like on the normal Spire, wherein it's just a 30-second load screen, regardless of your hardware. Actually, we're kind of getting to the end of the game here. After this, we've only got 4 more levels. There is actually also a skip to skip Adjutant Resolution. However, I've not shown it because I don't think it's something you should go for in tank gun categories. Maybe another runner will make a tutorial for that skip. Maybe they won't. We'll see. But once we're at the top here, what I like to do is I just fire a tank shot and throw a shock nade down. But I'm not going to throw a shock nade because I've only got 1 for some reason. So I like to just throw a couple nades out. Then I'm looking over here to... I really wish I didn't have shield bug. So I could, like, show things off properly. Yeah, we're just kind of making our way downtown. We're trying to get down to the end here as fast as possible. Feel free to use your sword swings here, by the way. Because this is the only room in the game with a recharge station for power weapons. So feel free to just use your sword here. Use whatever. And once everything's dead, refill power weapons, and you want to grab a rocket. There's one kind of on this box over here that I always grab. And once everything's dead, we're going to kind of like, we want to look out the window. Because looking out the window is going to start this next part of the fight a little bit quicker. Because there's going to be 3 phantoms here. The way I like to handle this is I wait for this first one to come up and settle. I fire a rocket. And then I fire a tank shot. After that, we're going to reload our rocket. And we're going to kind of wait around here for the next dropship to come in. We're going to tank gun once. And again. So I have a lineup for this 3rd phantom. I like to try and catch it with 2 rockets, wait a second, and then fire my tank gun. But also remember to pick up your sword when you drop the rocket. This is a really good checkpoint, actually. Once again, rocket, tank gun, reload. Something else I like to do is I like to, like, there's some debris around this button here, and we want it gone. Because sometimes you can, like, pick up a gun while the cutscene is playing and drop your sword or tank gun, and that is not good. So once again, 1 tank shot and 2. And on the 3rd, aiming around here, waiting a sec, firing your tank gun, and grabbing your sword again. 1 more time. Oh, nice checkpoint. Nice checkpoint. So 1 more time. Fill up the sword. Grab a rocket. Wait for this guy to settle in. Rocket. Tank gun. Reload. Clear debris. Number 1. And then lining up around here to do 2 rockets and a tank shot. Grabbing your sword, finishing off the Phantom if needed, and then wait for this button, and that's Command Spire. Easy as that. So now we're going to move on to Repository, which, thankfully, I can now restart the mission to fix my shield bug. And that also means that I can turn sound effects back on, so the game feels less awkward. So, immediately starting off on Repository, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of grapple and make our way around that. We're just immediately spawning in, immediately grappling and making our way around and landing around here. We're not going to thruster into this because there isn't the door trip. We're waiting for the door as always. So coming in, landing, do a little grapple and a thrust to get up here. We can kind of get a grapple slide right the way across the room like that. And of course I got a checkpoint and made a grapple slide, which doesn't help. Yeah, we can kind of get a slide across the room like that. Once again, this is another movement-based level. I'm going to show you the movement that I do, but this is by no means the only way you can like do this level. Like the door opens, we're just going to like slide out, grapple. Then we're going to jump and get a slide across here, and thruster. Catching ourselves another grapple. Doing another slide across this gap. And into here. I like to just sort of slide across here. This next room, though, is a bit rough, movement-wise. Like, I like to just sort of grapple, get a little slide across. Most important thing is this little is crossing this gap. This is kind of the way you want to do it. Like so. Basically building up a lot of speed so that you can kind of cross that gap. So once again, like we're going to slide across here. Hopefully we're going to land at the end so we get a sprint. Grapple the top, swing up. Grab the platform. Slide off of it. Double thruster, and then we can usually just grapple that pillar and swing around. That gap cross there is probably one of the more important things to know, to do there, movement-wise, to copy movement-wise. So one more time. Because afterwards, we're going to make our way to this door. We're going to crouch and go back out of bounds again. So, we're going to land around here. You can actually wait for a checkpoint here. If you're actually doing runs, I recommend delaying this checkpoint. So just swing your sword as you land. What we're going to do is we're just going to make our way over here. We're going to land here. If you're still delaying the checkpoint, swing again. We're going to jump up top here. And what we're going to do is we're going to walk forward slightly to load in this geometry. Because when you're here, like none of this geometry is here until you walk forward. Once it's loaded, we're just going to grapple up top here. If you delayed that checkpoint, this is where you're going to get it. You want to stand here for like a little second. You do not want to move forward, because if you move forward, there's just a freeze wall here. And we do not want to freeze. Because we have a strategy to get through this. So, once again, like the best way to set this up is just to grapple, is to like just sort of mantle the edge. Switch to your thruster. Then swing your sword and mash your equipment button. Like that. And that is us completely bypass that freeze wall. One more time. Switch to your thruster. Swing your sword. Spam equipment. And that gets us through it. We don't know why that works, and it only works for that specific freeze wall. But from here, we're just going to come over the geo, swing our way around, and we're going to kind of land around here. See, get back in bounds, this is a bit weird. So this geo here isn't actually, so this geo in front of us here isn't actually real. What we're going to do is we're just going to walk forward into it. So we're just going to walk forward into it until we get around here. We're going to land kind of on a ledge. What we're going to do is we're going to crouch and sort of make our way around so that we're underneath this piece of geo. I can even let go of crouch here and I'm still in sort of the crouch position. So we're going to kind of wedge ourselves underneath this. Then we're going to grapple the ceiling and ground pound. And that is going to get us back in bounds. So one more time. Let me double revert again, just so I can show you where the gap is. Walking forward, crouching, underneath the geo, tank gun out, grapple the ceiling, and ground pound. And that's us back in bounds. So we're going to make our way to the other end of this room. Again, movement-wise, I kind of just like to grapple the top of the door, get a slide and a thruster. One more time, just kind of grapple and a thruster. Grapple and a thruster. I'll show that one more time. Grapple over, tank on some enemies. Grapple and a thruster. Grapple and a thruster, if you have it. And we're just going to cross the room here. And in here, I like to thruster once, just to kind of get a little bit ahead. And then I grapple slide along the wall. It's like door opens, thruster, slide along, and thruster this way. So you can actually get kind of lucky here. That white elite can sometimes spawn next to the door and hold it open for you, and it's really nice when he does that. So one more time, we're just going to grapple slide across the room. Get another slide and hit this button. That's going to activate this gravity lift for us. And we can kind of grapple the top of it there and swing around. There's like an anti-equipment barrier here, so we can't even like grapple up this elevator if we wanted to. But yeah, making our way forward, I just gotta do a little thruster and a grapple. Because you can let your feet touch the ground there. Like, I personally don't like to let my feet touch the ground here. But if you want a little safety checkpoint, you can just sort of let your feet touch the ground and you'll get one. Yeah, just sort of making our way through here. If you're missing shock nades, there's a couple on that box there. So, now we're going to do the out of bounds portion of this level. Let me just clear some enemies so I can get a checkpoint. I don't want to nuke here in case I accidentally kill the enemies that are needed up ahead. So, this oop here is... The clip out of bounds is a bit tough. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of like sort of stand on this little raised section. Then we're going to crouch. And we're looking for this corner here. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of move out from that corner a little bit. Kind of like anywhere from like here to here will work with this clip, I think. Like, I think that's not going to work. Okay. But the best way to do this is just sort of move out slightly from that corner and you'll get out of bounds in no time. But this one's a little bit rough. But you will get there eventually. But one more time, you're in the corner. Move out from that corner. And you're out of bounds. Most important thing to do here though is you want to come up here. There's a trigger you need to hit at the top of here. I don't know where it is exactly, but I just know it's in this area. So you kind of want to come up about like to this point here. Once you've done that, you can then just sort of swing down. Because we're going to come back in bounds in this room. So this is different from the other back in bounds on doors that we do, because this one's a bit funny. So the way I do this clip is I kind of just stand on top of this black line here. And I kind of look in between these two lines and ground pound back in bounds. So I'll show that whole sequence again, all in one. Except I can't because I got a checkpoint here. Where's my double revert? Interesting. Okay. So once again, we're going to hit the trigger. Land down here. In between the two black lines. And ground pound. Then these two chieftains, it's as simple as tank shot 1. Hit Then ground pound the other and get another tank shot off. So, one more time. That was weird. One more time. Also, yeah, that freeze wall is gnarly right there. One more time. Landing here. Tank shot the shieldless one. Ground pound the one with the shield. Tank shot for the kill. And there's 3 sentinels going to spawn in here. I'm going to wait for my shields to come back, because I'm going to show you a better way to do that. So, once again, grappling in. Hit the freeze wall, apparently. I'm making a checkpoint when we get down to the bottom there. So the reason we hit that checkpoint is because if we don't hit that checkpoint, those sentinels will not spawn. And we need those sentinels to spawn. Also, yeah, you're kind of seeing how finicky this clip is. Oh. So what I'm trying to show is that you can actually use the coil here as part of this clear. But this chieftain is being meanie. There we go. So, 3 sentinels spawn. We're going to tank on this guy. We're going to throw a coil at this guy. And then hopefully tank shot the 3rd. Because a grapple ground pound will kill the sentinels. But not the shieldless ones. The shielded ones. You can't grapple onto them. So that's why we kind of just throw the coil. So the spawn is always consistent. It's this one, and this one in this first room. So yeah, tank shot this one. Hopefully throw a coil at this one, then tank shot this one. If you don't have a coil, just tank shot, ground pound, tank shot is better. So we're going to pick up the seed here and do another tele-yeet. We're going to be coming left this way though. Once we're kind of like in the hallway here, we're going to throw the seed. Because we're not going to go into the seed room just yet. What we're going to do instead is we're going to actually clip into the next seed room. So the way to do that is I kind of like to use this like these 3 arrows in a line up. So I sort of walk backwards until I'm like here. And there's a little gray line. It's this little divot here we're aiming for. So at the 3, we aim for the divot. And we're back and we're out of bounds. And my keyboard disconnected briefly for some reason. And for some reason it thinks that escape is Windows. Why does it think that escape is Windows? What is going on here? What is bro doing? Why have we switched layouts? Give me a little second here. Turns out my control key got stuck on when my keyboard disconnected for a brief second. That's fine. But anyways, we're back. So I'll show that out of bounds clip one more time. So we're here. We're going to be using the 3 arrows once again. Lining up with the divot. And clip back out of bounds. Once again, we've got another trigger we need to hit up here. We're just slide into that one. Grapple around. This back in bounds clip is the same as the other one. It's a bit finicky. We're just going to line up in between the lines. Ground pound in. We're going to go for the chieftain first. Again, tank gun ground pound. And then tank gun jetpack Jonathan. So the sentinels for this one are in a different order. It's going to go top, right, and left. And we can take it out just like that. Tank gun, ground pound, tank gun. Grab our last seed. Another tele-yeet to the left. So this room here, this room is weird. You cannot stay in this room for too long. So I'm going to stand in this room. And if I'm in this room for too long, I'm going to get teleported. So I'm going to stand here for a second to show you what that looks like. Hopefully I'm actually going to get it. Let's kill some stuff. So after a little while, we are going to get teleported. Which we do not want under any circumstances, believe it or not. Because that loses time. Eventually we're going to get teleported, I think. Or I don't understand how this room works. Okay, I don't think apparently I don't understand how this room works. I think it's to do with putting the seeds in when there's enemies left alive. So let's test that theory. We're going to do some live testing here. We're going to do some live testing here, because I really want to show you what this teleport looks like. Interesting. It should have happened by now. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, the point still stands though. Do not stay in this room for too long or you'll teleport. The way I like to handle this room is I throw one seed up to the left here, and then I kind of follow it. So the seed is there, so I kind of like stand there to throw the seed, grab the other one, pop it in, pop in the other seed, and then start climbing the elevator. There is once again an equipment field here, so we need to kind of wait for the elevator. But we really want to like swing ourselves up ASAP. So one more time. Grab the seed, follow it over. Get her around here to throw this one. That one, and that one. And climb the elevator. So I mentioned the teleport earlier, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to save and quit once we get to the top of this elevator. So I thrust her twice, and then I end my game. So now we don't need to worry about the teleport anymore. So we're gonna spawn back up top here. And make our way downtown. Doing another couple grapple slides to get across the room. Until we get to this door in front of us here. So we're gonna kind of like do another sort of door out of bounds. Like, kind of like so, and we're gonna land here. And we want to wait for our grapple to come back for a little second. And we're just gonna hold W off the edge here. Swing off top like that. Double thruster across, and come back in bounds on this door. And then this is the button which ends the level. So I will show that one more time, and then we will go on to the road. So once again, out of bounds. Double thruster. And ground pound. And that is repository done. So, the road. There are numerous different ways to do the road, and I'm going to show you two of the more popular ones. So to start off with, we're going to spawn back again, back at this button here. If we pause our game, it still says we're on repository. So what we're going to do to fix that is we're going to backtrack to this door and do another door out of bounds. And immediately after that, we are going to switch. Once we go out of bounds, we're going to immediately switch to our thruster and double thrust to the left. So ground pound, thruster, thruster, and pause. So when you pause, check for what mission it says here. So it's going to say the road up here. Sometimes it still says repository. The best way to check is to press restart mission. And if it says all progress in the repository will be lost, you're going to cancel, you're going to resume, and you're going to pause buffer again. You're going to pause buffer until restart mission says all progress in the road will be lost. And once it says that, we're just going to hit confirm. And that is going to spawn us back up top. So there are two different ways to do the road. The easiest way to do the road is the ghost route. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make our way over to this warthog, up in the driver's seat, and make our way downtown. Once we get to right here, there's a ghost to our left. We're going to hop out, and we're going to start using the ghost here. Once again, we're making our way downtown. We're gonna get around here. Once we get to this area around here, there's like a shadow on the ground in front of us. When we hit that shadow, we're gonna hold space and we're gonna try and bounce off of that wraith. So we're holding space. I'm gonna bounce off the wraith and we're gonna try and clear the door. I actually don't know where my checkpoint is. I think it's at the start. It is at the start of the level. Let's go. Yeah, you do not get checkpoints on the road. If you get the wrong seat, by the way, just press Q or whatever you like, whatever your switch seats button is. I think I'm gonna nuke all the enemies so that I can show this ghost jump off a little bit better. So, switching over to the ghost. You can just get hijacked here. It happens. If it does happen, just grapple your ghost again, get back on. Okay, I'm gonna nuke all AI here. Just so I can get a checkpoint for this to show this off again. So we're gonna save a checkpoint. So once again, once we hit this shadow, we're gonna hold space. And then we're gonna bounce off of this wraith and we're gonna hopefully clear the door. So if you don't nuke the AI, there is 2 hunters here who can either help or hinder you getting across. So sometimes this can happen. Like, I think you can just sort of... Can you swing your mouse out of this? No, I think you're just completely stuck. Interesting. So yeah, once again, space, vault off the wraith. We're hopefully going to cross the door. Or not. It's just kind of tough. But you will get it there eventually. So, yeah, once again, I'm struggling with this, but as I say, it is kind of tough. Yeah, ramping off, getting across the door. Then we're just going to continue making our way downtown. I don't know if going right or left is more optimal here. I'm just going to go right because this is what I know. And once we get to the end here, we're just going to abandon our ghost. And... because we have to wait for that gate to come over, but we're just better off, like, grapple sliding across the bridge. We're much better off grapple sliding across the bridge here. And that is road. That is road with the ghost route. However, we're going to show you a different method. This is the chopper launch. So immediately on spawning in, we're going to kind of grapple slide down. And we want to kill these 2 grunts to get a checkpoint later on. So we're going to grab our chopper here. And if we drive up, we should get a checkpoint around here. We do. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn around and we're going to line up against this rock. So the lineup I like is I kind of like to line up my chopper like this. And then I'm going to hop out, throw a shock, and then we're gonna boost into the shock nade. And hopefully what's gonna happen is we're gonna get a launch like this, where we're kind of just going horizontal, and when we hop out, we're going terminal velocity. So unfortunately my chopper got out on top of me, which is a bit unfortunate. But it happens. You can even get like sometimes getting like launches like this. It's a bit unfortunate. It happens. But yeah, the goal is to go completely horizontal and to get terminal velocity to basically just fly over the level. Once we get to about here, we're just gonna like thruster once again so that we're on a straight line with this. I like to mash crouch here to try and get a slide out. So I did it a bit too early there. But I like to mash crouch to try and get a slide out of the momentum from the chopper. There we go. So chopper launch is a lot faster than the ghost route. As you can see, it's a little bit less consistent. Overall, I would recommend trying the chopper launch. And just kind of get a feel for it. Decide whether you want, like, consistent ghost routes or you want, like, the risky time save of chopper launch. I would like to show a successful chopper launch here. Like, even going this high, this is fine, because we're still crossing the level. It's still faster than the Ghost. Like, I believe the math has been done, and that 4th try chopper launch is faster than the Ghost. But I say it's up to personal preference, and just, like, what you want. And yeah, I like to try and get a little slide out of it. Usually, like, if you hit the ramp back there, you can actually get, like, massive amounts of speed. But that's all I really want to show on the road. Now, I've already done a guide on House of Reckoning. So I reckon we're just going to skip it. And I'll just simply link the guide that I've already made for this level in the description. So we are just going to move straight on to the Silent Auditorium, I think. I'm also going to make sure I have... Give me a second here. I'm just going to make sure I have all of my upgrades, because these saves are a bit... Yeah. Okay. So, Silent Auditorium. Very, very hard level. The way I like to start it is just thruster forward and get a slide off of here. Thrusting out of the slide. I'm going to be doing another swing clip on this door. So, the way to line this up... Allow me to just kill everything real quick. The way to line this up is... We're going to be using this sort of white line here. So we'll, like, grapple that and clip in. Let's just kind of show this off in one segment. Or rather, I'll just show you the lineup again, apparently. So yeah, like, we're grappling this white line and smacking it in. Let's restart the mission, show that full segment again. Thrusting forward, grappling off the top, getting another thruster, sliding, holding crouch, and when you land, just swing clip out of bounds. Doing it on the move like that, that can happen. But it is faster to do it while on the move, of course, rather than stopping to line it up. So yeah, once we've landed in here, we're just going to thruster across the gap and land here. And we're going to slide off the top. So something to note is that there's a gnarly freeze wall here. So you can't take this too straight, otherwise you're just going to hit it. Instead what we're going to do is we're just going to, like, grapple up top and kind of go an angle. So we can grapple this here and swing around the freeze wall and get a thruster out. So one more time. Thruster out. Grapple. We're gonna thruster across because we're gonna be coming back in bounds. So we're kind of like sliding off the roof there to land here. Something to note about this clip is you actually have to wait for this part of the door to be fully up, otherwise the clip won't work for some reason. So coming back in bounds, we're gonna be doing a trick called Hunter Skip. I would show you the Hunter, the version that doesn't use this skip, but the thing is, the lineup we found is so free that it's not even worth doing the non-Hunter Skip method. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make our way downtown and grab that coil there. Because we're gonna do another pinch. So pinch the coil, and then we're gonna crouch. And we're gonna crouch. This is our lineup here. This little white triangle where this line meets this line. We're just gonna put our crosshair right there and let go of the coil. And for some reason, it's not going to work. After me just saying how free it was. This is the nature of coil pinching, by the way. There we go. That's what the pinch should look like. So one more time, where the two lines meet. This is what I get for calling this free, by the way. This is what I get for calling this free. So lining up around there and through. One more time. Again, this is just the nature of coil pinching. There we go. And once we're through, I just kind of like to slide and grapple around this corner. And grapple up top here again. Grapple through the hallway. Getting a little thruster in there. So the movement for these two rooms is movement I really want you to pay attention to. Because these two rooms, the movement is very, very tough. So the way I like to do this is I start by going up left. And I'm going to tank gun this grunt specifically because he is a suicide grunt. And as mentioned, suicide grunts are gnarly in this game. So again, I'll show you the approach here. I'm going to grapple slide up, shoot this guy in the face, and then we're going to try and grapple along the sort of catwalk there. That Whiteley is in the way. But still, grappling along that catwalk is the fastest way to do that. So, one more time. We're going to kill this guy. I'm going to try and get up on the catwalk here. And we don't want to use any thrusters here, because we want our thruster charge for this room. Where we're going to try and do a massive slide right across the gap here. I didn't get a lot of speed there for some reason. So I'll show you this room's movement one more time, and then we're going to spend a little bit more time on the next room. So, once again, because yeah, like as you can see, dude's just gnarly. So, coming around town. And getting this guy up on the catwalk. I keep bonking. I don't even think that's how I do that movement. I'm going to be honest. Match have to watch by one of my PVs. Because I think what I like to do here is kind of like stop around here. And then, yeah. Then just sort of come up on the catwalk like this. And then grapple around until we get to here. And then we're going to do like a jump into a slide to get across this room. We should be going way further. I'm quitting my game here because this just gets me a better checkpoint to demonstrate this room. Because this room's hard. This next room is really, really hard. But what we should be doing is sort of sprinting around, jumping to get like a slide like this. And kind of like a double slide there. And then just sort of making our way around like that. That is the way we kind of want to move through this room. I'm time gunning just to get rid of some enemies that are in the way. And then just kind of like coming through the middle of the room. There we go. Making our way around town. And that is that room there. So, this gap cross here is a little bit easier than the one on Nexus. You can kind of just get across it with a slide and a thruster. We're supposed to watch a little conversation here. We're going to go out of bounds like we did on Command Spire. We're just going to kind of like shove our face into this corner. Look for the corner in the L and ground pound back out. And once you're out, we're going to kind of just jump around and sort of just grapple and thrust our way around. You can, if you're not confident doing that grapple and thruster stuff I just did, you can just sort of walk around. So we're going to come back in bounds on this door. But we're not going to do it the standard way. We're kind of just going to push our face into it. I'm going to crouch and we're going to tilt our camera. There's these like little sticky out textures here. Like there's one sticking into my camera. So we want to move right until the second one is gone. And then we can ground pound back in. If you need nades, there's some shock nades and plasmas here. Just in case you want to stock up for the end fight. And this next room here is like, once you come back in bounds, you kind of just want to like make your way over and across here. The movement I like to do is I like to just kind of go down the middle, thruster to the right, thrust to the left there, and sort of make my way through like this. So we'll show that again. So door opens. Thruster like that. Make our way downtown. So, and now we're going to be grabbing our coil here. So coming into this room, we want to just immediately grapple slide into this coil and make our way across here. So, grapple sliding. Once we got our coil, we're going to just sort of make our way down to the end of the hallway. And once we're in this room here, where we can see Adjutant Resolution, again, we're going to do another out of bounds here. Shoving our face into the corner. Look for the L. And ground pound back out. And we're going to make our way around here. There's once again like another gnarly freeze wall. So we're going to kind of just swing around. Like, we're going to swing around the corner like that. We're just going to grapple the top and then just sort of swing our way around. And once again, this door, like, you can do the method like this where you get back in bounds. But this door, you can do like a standard door back in bounds. Where you just sort of come up against the wall here. And just sort of ground pound like that. Once you're back in bounds, we're going to make our way across. We're going to make our way through here. Just sort of grappling, thrustering. You should be used to the movement by now, I hope, when you're in this level. So, elevator here. We're going to prop our coil up against the elevator. We're going to walk into it and do another coil launch up top. It's just another standard coil launch. But the main thing to note here is you want to pick up your coil. Otherwise, it will splatter into you and it might kill you. So, one more time. Standard coil launch. And next thing to note is there's two methods to get through this door. There is the consistent method, and then there's the coil pinch. So, the coil pinch. With this coil or the shock, you kind of want to, like, put yourself into this gap here. You're holding W and A for this one. And the lineup for this is this little white dot that you see me looking at here. I'm going to put the bottom right on my crosshair, like into the top. I'm going to put the bottom right part of my crosshair into the top left corner, and then let go of the coil. This coil launch is really, really inconsistent, however. Like, to the point where I wouldn't even recommend going for it. Like, I'm getting it every single time. But that's because I'm showing it off for a video instead of going for it in runs. Because if I was going for this in runs, it would not be working. Like, that is the standard experience with this pinch, is what I just got there. What should be noted, though, is that if you do this with a shock coil, there is a chance you just get yeeted to the other side of the room. And that does save time over the consistent method. There's even other lineups. Like, I played around with, like, this lineup up, like, with a lineup up here. But yeah, it doesn't work so good. This door is really, really awkward to pinch through. It's really inconsistent, and I don't recommend it in the slightest. So, the consistent method. The consistent method is to just walk into the door again like this, and sort of crouch into it. You'll know you're in the right note, because if you let go of crouch, you're crouched into the gap here. So what we're going to do is we're going to ground pound out of bounds. So the lineup for this is this sort of white line here. We just want to grapple into that, and we're going to land on this little platform out of bounds. And what we're going to do is we're not going to fall off. What instead we're going to do is, as we fall, we're going to grapple the ceiling, and we're going to hopefully hit our head on the floor. This is really awkward to do. But if we bonk our head, we're going to get saving progress. And that's what we want. So, one more time. Bonk our head. You can freeze here, this is fine. Like, if you freeze, it's fine. Sometimes the saving progress takes a little minute to show up. You don't even need to wait for it. Like, you can just go immediately. Like, if you're still starting out, what I actually recommend you do is you hit it, and then you just sort of, like, pause buffer until you see it, because you're going to lose less time doing that, because pausing isn't timed. It's kind of a cheap method to see if you got it, but that's, like, what I personally did when I wasn't so confident. So, once again, bunker head, save in progress, and then we're going to save and quit. And this is the final boss of Halo Infinite. So what we're going to do is, the minute we spawn in, well, we've done the coil pinch, or we've used the progress save to get back in bounds. We're just going to grapple slide across. And do another grapple slide. And one more to the button. And I am going to, I'm going to make a checkpoint and suppress it here. Because the boss fight is... there's a lot going on. I'm going to show you how I do it. Because I think that's the method that everyone should do. So, we're going to press the button. And after we see the cutscene, we're going to hold S. And we're going to start by standing on top of this ammo crate in front of me here. This plasma ammo crate. The way the doors are going to work here is... it's going to go this door first. So it's going to open... I beg your pardon? Why did the wrong doors open? So, press the button. And we're going to stand up top here. The first door is going to be this one. So we're just going to look at this door. We're going to tank shot this door. And then the next door, I like to throw 2 frags at it. The third door is over here. So we're going to tank shot the enemies that are coming out. Once everything's dead, Harbinger shields are going to go down. And we want to tank shot her. So let's show wave 1 one more time. So once again, press the button, hold S away, and sit in your nuke. And first door. Second door. Sometimes that skirmisher just runs away, nothing you can do about it. But you want to spawn kill this wave first before you clean out. You want to make sure you're spawn killing waves before you clean up. And once again, Harbinger shields go down. So once wave 1 is over, I like to grab a commando. And the way we're going to rotate here is we're going to rotate to the left, to the platform over here. You actually have quite a bit of time to do this. So we're going to stand on top of this one here. You'll know you're on the right one because it's a shock power crate. So with our commando, what I like to do is line up kind of like this against the door. And throw 2 shock nades. Tank shot this room. And tank shot this room. And then check for stragglers in this one. Usually the 2 shock nades are enough to kill everything. But if they're not, it's fine. Then Harbinger shields are going to go down. And then I like to come back up here to replenish my shock nades. And grab a shock rifle. Once again, we're going to be rotating left. There's a bit of a nuke here we want to get into. So if we, like, shimmy our way off the edge... if we shimmy our way off the edge, we can actually fire a tank shot off if we're just right. And the door order here is we're going to go right. Then I like to use my shock rifle to pick something off. Then fire another shot. Throw 2 shock nades here. And then, usually we can hit the chieftain, usually, like, if we can get a tank shot on the chieftain while he's stunned, that'll kill him. But, one more time. Let's do this one more time. First door, second door, third. Tank shot. Nades. Tank shot. Tank shot. Look for Harbinger. 1 tank shot. And 2. Grab a commando. And then first door, second door, third. So lining up. So 2 shocks. Tank shot. And Tank shot. Tank shot on her. One more. Shock nades and shock rifle. Find your nook. Make sure you can fire a tank shot. And then this door. Try and snipe something. Fire another shot. 2 shock nades. Then tank shot. Clean up anything that's still in there. The dino was hiding. And then 1 tank shot. And then with this final blow, Halo Infinite is over. And now you know everything you need to know to speedrun Halo Infinite. The strats provided in this guide should hopefully help you get to a sub 1 hour time and potentially lower. I hope this guide has helped you out a lot. If you have any more questions or you need anything to be expanded upon that was in this guide, feel free to at me in the Halo Infinite channel over on the Halo Runs Discord, and I will do my best to answer you. But for now, bye.